So I'd like to hear it, not just questions, but concerns or ideas. What do you think? We have, I think we have, what is it, 12 minutes? No, 22 minutes. That's good.
22 minutes, yeah, and we have some comments and questions from Randy.
Great.
I don't know if you're able, Randy, to ask them yourself.
I am. I have quite a lot, Glenn, and I'm not sure we have to go into all of them. Hi. First of all, I just wanted to say I agree totally with your organization, organizing for learning as well. I find that quite difficult in our industry to actually set aside resources to do learning. But when you do, I think one thing I would add to one of your slides up there was actually that the main outcome I see is a change in culture. When you set aside resources to do it, because I see people come back afterwards with a lot of more ideas and failures they want to get explored. So I think the main outcome is actually cultural change for that one.
Yeah.
More than fixing stuff.
Yeah, it reminds me about, where I showed that Spancrete example. I went to the project, or went to that company, and I interviewed the people in Waukesha Wetcast, and I couldn't take 2 steps without someone tugging on my sleeve saying, "Hey, I want to tell you about an idea I have."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I said they have become a learning organization, right? And it infects everyone. So,
it does.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yep.
But perhaps a question actually related to the last thing you just said around where you use the value stream mapping. So I also see in design that you can, if you're clever enough, see that some processes are standard processes where you can use the value stream mapping, for example, assurance, governance, document creation. And I think perhaps that is a bit what Pernille also referred to a bit earlier, perhaps, of setting up also production lines around documentation, making that. So that's standard processes. But then on the other hand, you still have a complex system of activities where we use last planner system to combine these things. And these two activities in planning takes different skills and also sometimes different types of people to help do them, which then I find sometimes they end up being disconnected, which shouldn't be the case. So I just wanted to hear if actually you have experienced how to better combine the value stream mapping on standard processes with the last planner system of the more complex processes. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure I know an answer offhand, but it does provoke me to think about, to say, one of the things I've been concerned about, and I'm trying to address it in this the new last planner system document, is, I think that last planner is maybe it's not understood that it's designed to be an engine for improvement, right? And so I've been surprised that the information that is developed in the last planner system, say for example in look ahead planning, right, where you identify, well, we thought we were scheduled to have this information or this material or this contract or something, right? But we don't have it, right? Well, that, it seems to me, takes you back into standard process, right? That's where they connect or disconnect or don't connect, right? And if we could get better at learning from what better evidence of the functionality, effectiveness of a process like materials management, then does it provide the materials when they're needed, right? And are they the right materials? Right? And the same for any kind of information deliverable. Right? So, yeah, I'm with you. I think they're really, they both are necessary and they're interdependent. And yet I don't think that we're taking advantage of the information, the customer in this case, that is designing and making, is providing them by way of feedback. Right?
Yeah, I think we have a great deal of challenges and work to be done in the Lean community of also defining the entities of planning in design as well. So instead of looking perhaps at, as I think, of activities in design, we might be able to then look at decisions or, points of no return as planning entities instead of, someone is starting something and ending an activity. I think that is a planning to fail if you use activities only.
Right. No, and I think that links to this idea of pulling design and procurement to the construction, right, and ultimately to the use by the client, right. And so you have to have some way of setting time targets, right, even though some of the tasks that are being performed in meeting those time targets can't be themselves precisely defined, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
There's a lot of things to be discussed here.
Yeah, I know. Are you still in England, or are you working from Denmark?
I'm working from Denmark, but I'm still on
Awesome.
Lower Thames Crossing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, get that job done, would you?
Give me another 10 years, please.
Okay. I'll go. Do we have another question or comment?
Not at the moment, but the word is free. So raise your hand or write a comment in the chat if you have a question for Glenn.
Yeah, I'd like to hear if people agree with me about those 4 things. There may be more, but at least those 4.
I think it sounds right what you're proposing here. I'm not sure at this point that I can think of what else should be added, but it's. I think you stress some very basic tools for this, and I think also my question from the first part is about measurement and trying to learn from what you do is not done enough. I think that's what we lack. So we don't have the learning because we don't measure what we do. We just do it and then we go do something else.
Right.
So that loop is missing in many processes, I think.
Right.
I remember when I did your class when I was at Berkeley. Many years ago, I think 15 years ago. That was doing the value stream mapping exercise was a great eye opener for even a simple process. I think it was for change orders, how to handle these. Learning, finding out how much waste there was and how easy it was to deal with once you did draw the value stream. So I think you're pointing at very important and very fundamental tools. And I think we should be able to maybe go back for these. Now we're doing the advanced last planner system today, but maybe go back to some of these tools and reintroduce them, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it would. Certainly, if you're bringing people that are new into the lean world, the lean philosophy, right? And then this would be the way to start.
Mm.
Okay, any other takers out there?
Looks like people are. Randy has a recommendation. Will you follow up on this, Randy?
I'm just recommending Fernando Flores' book on conversation for actions to elaborate a bit on the commitments, reliable commitments.
Right.
I think that is a really good. It was an eye-opener for me. It was perhaps a bit, too much to divide a promise up to so many steps, but I think it's quite important that people actually understand that process in itself. Otherwise, we're not making real commitments.
No, that's a good recommendation. Yep. Yeah, one of the things we're looking at in the recommendations for future research to improve the last planner system in the next 4 years is to explore conversations for possibility, which I may think might be very relevant for design.
Actually, I think this goes very well with a question that Mikael has. So, Mikael, will you state your point and question?
Yes, hi Glenn. I'm sorry I couldn't be there from the start, but well, my question is that this request for learning sometimes becomes an opportunity for complaining. Have you any tricks to avoid that?
So flesh it out a little bit. I certainly agree, and I think I agree. I've had that experience, but maybe give me a story.
Well, I have this team where, my colleagues are quite frustrated about some things, about some of the IT systems and all that they work on, and we can't really do anything about that. But still, if you try to sort of reach out and talk to them about how can we improve this and how can we still have a good work environment, trying to do whatever we can. It's just sort of it's not a very constructive talk, actually. It just becomes an opportunity for complaining about this and that. I think also in the construction sites, sometimes when you try to invite for people to give their opinion about how things are done, they look at you with a somewhat frustrated face and ask you to tell them what to do, right? I mean, they don't really they're not really motivated to provide a solution themselves. They would rather shift the responsibility to their management. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how to deal with that, except you don't ask people to solve a problem they can't solve. It is frustrating, right? Yeah. And maybe sometimes those types of problems need to be addressed at a different level, right? The fact that workers are avoiding accountability, right, is not just, that's useful information. Well, what can we do to change that, right? And I think one of the things is to engage them in shaping their own future, which is what the last planner system is all about, right? or is about at any rate. And if you do that, then they get in the habit of creating their future as opposed to simply enduring it. Right? Now that may have may need some help from top management, right? From how you may have one of the interesting things to do is this idea that a problem may surface in one place, but its countermeasures lie somewhere else, right? And so sometimes in policy, sometimes in leadership behaviors, right? And those are not going to be solved at the workplace level. So good luck.